If you haven't seen part 1 yet, it's down in the description. Alright, let's get started. After Yoon-soo suddenly hugged Chae inside the church, the two of them vanished. The next thing Chae knew, she was lying on the ground. She immediately asked, "Where are we? And how did you do this?" But Yoon-soo completely ignored her question. Instead, he looked around and said, "What do you think? Pretty view, isn't it? Now, do you understand how crazy you sounded when you told me to hand you over to the police or kill you?" Then he looked at her and said, "I'm the one who decides, not you. That's why you need to stop acting recklessly and start listening. Got it? I'm letting you go this time." But before he could finish speaking, Chae grabbed a piece of broken glass and jumped at him. She kept stabbing at his face while screaming, "Then kill me, or I'll kill you first!" As tears ran down her face, she kept asking him why he was doing all of this to her. Then she suddenly froze. The wounds on Yoon-soo's face were healing by themselves, and his eyes had turned yellow. Chae stumbled backward in fear and said, "Who are you? I knew you weren't human. You're a vampire." Yoon-soo smiled. Then he grabbed her by the throat with overwhelming strength and said, "You don't need to know, because either way, you're going to die. This is your last chance. If you apologize, I'll let you go. So apologize quickly before you die." But Chae refused. She looked straight at him and said, "There's no way I'm apologizing. If you're going to kill me, then do it. Hurry up." For the first time, Yoon-soo looked genuinely shocked by her answer, and that suddenly reminded him of something from the past. Back when Yoon-soo wasn't a vampire yet, he once met a strange man and asked him to turn him into one. But the man replied, "I don't turn living people into vampires." Yoon-soo immediately asked, "So only dead people can become vampires?" The man shook his head. "I didn't say that. I just said I'm not turning you into one. Now quit bothering me." But Yoon-soo refused to leave. Instead, he said, "I want you to turn me into a vampire so I can become strong like you and do whatever I want." The man instantly grabbed him by the neck the exact same way Yoon-soo was holding Chae now. Then he said, "Sounds like you've got a pretty big dream. Hope it comes true someday." Right then, an older woman walked in and begged the man to let Yoon-soo go. She turned to Yoon-soo and told him to apologize, but Yoon-soo refused. He said there was no way he was apologizing. And that's when we realized something. Chae's reaction just reminded Yoon-soo of that exact moment from his past. So back to the present, Yoon-soo had already thrown Chae to the ground and left. When she finally woke up, he was gone. For a second, she actually thought he'd finally given up on her. Maybe he'd leave her alone for good. Honestly, she just hoped she'd never have to see his face again. So she went back to her normal life. One day, she had a passenger in her taxi when she suddenly noticed a piece of paper. Her first thought was that Yoon-soo had left it there, but when she picked it up, it was actually a wedding invitation from her sister. The passenger looked at it and said, "Kinda weird getting a paper invitation these days. Most people just send that stuff on their phones now. Must be someone really close to you." And Chae told him, "Yeah, it's from my sister. I should probably go congratulate her." When she got ready for the wedding, she looked at herself and immediately thought she might have overdressed a little. After all, she was only planning to stop by, congratulate her sister, and leave. Then suddenly, her phone buzzed. It was a reply from the person she'd contacted earlier about the vampire article. He said he wanted to meet her and hear more details. But Chae just closed her phone. At this point, she didn't even care anymore. As far as she was concerned, that whole thing was over. When she arrived at the wedding venue, she immediately felt something was off. Then, out of nowhere, an older woman walked up behind her, and it was her grandmother. "You're Chae? What are you doing here?" The second Chae saw her, she tried her best to stay calm, because her grandmother immediately started insulting her, calling her jealous, bitter, and saying she had no business showing up somewhere like this. "You'll just ruin the wedding. You've been jealous of your sister your entire life." Chae laughed sarcastically and said, "Yep, you got me. I came here to destroy the wedding. That's why I'm wearing a wedding dress too, right? So I can steal all the attention and make my sister jealous of me." And she calmed down a little and added, "I'm only here because my sister invited me." She showed her the invitation and tried to walk inside, but her grandmother grabbed her jacket and ripped it. And right then, her sister saw everything. Her friends asked who Chae was, but instead of answering honestly, she pretended not to know her. That completely crushed Chae, and in that moment, she realized her sister had probably been acting the whole time when she gave her that invitation. Then suddenly, a young man walked in, and every girl in the room immediately started talking about him. They couldn't stop talking about how handsome he was, and that person was Yoon-soo. The second he walked in, he headed straight toward Chae. Then he smiled and said, "Hey miss, sorry I'm late. Took forever to find parking. What happened to your clothes?" And before she could even answer, he took off his jacket and put it around her shoulders. Then he greeted her grandmother and sister. The first thing Chae's sister asked him was, "So, what's your relationship with her?" At this point, after hearing all the girls talk about how attractive Yoon-soo was, she was clearly getting jealous. But Chae didn't stay quiet. "My boyfriend." Then her sister immediately asked, "Wait, you're rich? And Yoon-soo replied, "Yeah, of course I am." The moment she heard that, everything changed. She instantly switched personalities. Suddenly, she was telling Chae how proud she was of her and saying all kinds of nice things. Then the uncle showed up because of all the commotion. The second he saw Chae, he asked, "What are you doing here?" But Yoon-soo cut him off and explained that he was Chae's friend, and they were only there to congratulate her sister. And honestly, the second the uncle saw how handsome, stylish, and wealthy Yoon-soo looked, he changed too. He welcomed both of them. Then he started asking Chae how she was doing and how her taxi job was going, and Chae couldn't help laughing. "Wow, you all changed pretty fast the second you saw Yoon-soo." Then she turned to Yoon-soo and said, "Come on, give them the wedding money so we can leave." Yoon-soo pulled out his wallet, and it was absolutely packed with cash. He apologized for forgetting an envelope, but her uncle and grandmother immediately said it wasn't a problem at all. Just showing up was already enough. Of course, they still took the money. And after that, they started praising Chae non-stop and talking about how happy they were that she'd met someone like Yoon-soo. But all that fake behavior just made Chae sick, so she grabbed Yoon-soo and tried to leave. But while walking away, she caught the exact same look in his eyes that he'd had when she buried that girl's body, and she froze. Because suddenly, she remembered something. The thing Yoon-soo hated most was hypocrisy. And if there was one thing her family was full of, it was hypocrisy. So she immediately tried dragging him out of there. But Yoon-soo just said, "Not sure when I'll see your family again. Let's stay a little longer." Still, Chae forced him outside. The second they left, she asked, "What are you planning to do to my family?" Yoon-soo smiled. "I'm glad I came with you. Now I got to meet your family. Your sister doesn't seem as strong as you. Looks like she's never seen anything truly terrifying before. I wonder what she'll do if she finds out what I really am. But if you go back to being obedient like before, nothing will happen. Your sister won't see anything frightening." Then he handed her a piece of paper. "The choice is yours. I'll be waiting for your answer." After that, Chae decided to meet the person she'd been talking to online about the website. The man told her he normally didn't meet people in person, but she seemed serious enough for him to make an exception. So Chae told him everything, including the fact that someone was following her, and that person was a vampire. The second he heard that word, his expression changed. "Don't say that word again. They don't like people talking about them." Chae told him the whole story. She explained that Yoon-soo was obsessed with her, constantly watching her, and might even be watching them right now. But the man replied, "That doesn't automatically mean he's one of them." Then Chae asked if he'd ever seen someone with yellow eyes before, and the second he realized she actually had, he completely lost it. "Where did you see him? Was it a man or a woman? How do you know him?" Question after question after question. Chae stared at him. Honestly, he seemed a little crazy, so she told him, "Can you calm down and ask one question at a time?" But instead, he grabbed her face and forced her eyes open in a weird attempt to make sure she was human and not a vampire. That instantly annoyed her. "Are you insane? If I was a vampire, why would I come here in the first place? You seriously seem like some kind of creep." Eventually, he calmed down and asked her to tell him anything unusual Yoon-soo had done. Chae immediately remembered how Yoon-soo had ordered her to bring him one person every week. But she couldn't tell him that, because if any of those people were found dead or reported missing, she could end up getting blamed too. So instead she said, "Look, I came here so you could tell me how to get rid of this vampire." The second she said the word again, he got angry. "Be quiet! How many times do I have to tell you not to say that?" Chae just stared at him in shock. After calming down, he finally said, "First, we need to confirm whether this person really is one. And the easiest way to do that? Take me to him. I'll tell you exactly what he is." Like it's that easy. Then he continued, "Once I see him, I'll show you how to get rid of him." But Chae stood up and left. "Thanks for trying, but you honestly seem crazy. I don't think you can help me." And as she walked away, she couldn't stop thinking. The pressure from her family was getting worse. She'd actually had a little hope in this guy, but now she felt even more disappointed. And on top of that, she knew that if she took him to Yoon-soo, he'd probably disappear or die just like everyone else. Worst of all, today was the deadline, the day she was supposed to bring someone to Yoon-soo. So taking this man there was way too dangerous, because Yoon-soo might assume she brought him as prey and turn him into dinner. Then an older woman gets into Chae's taxi and tells her she's heading to a place called Sunggimdong, and it's her first time going there. Too bad she ever decided to go, because that's the exact same place written on the paper Yoon-soo gave Chae. Meanwhile, the researcher Chae talked to earlier is still following her. He wants to know if she was actually telling the truth. Did she really see someone with yellow eyes, or was she just making the whole thing up? While driving, Chae overhears the woman talking to her friend about her daughter, and that hits her hard, because if she goes through with this, she's taking a mother away from her child. But protecting her family from Yoon-soo comes first, because if she disobeys him, she could lose all of them. Lost in thought, Chae suddenly hears the woman say, "Here, try some. My daughter made it. I don't eat bread." But the woman keeps insisting, and Chae finally snaps. "I said I don't eat bread. Just get out of the taxi. I don't even want the fare anymore." The only reason she said that was because she was worried about the woman. She didn't want her daughter losing her mother, but unfortunately, the woman refuses. "What do you mean, get out? Is that how you treat customers?" Then she spots a police station. "Fine, I'll go report you. Maybe that'll teach you some manners and show you how to treat people older than you. Fine, forget it. I'll take you there." The woman hands her the bread again. "Eat it later," almost like she was saying, "You'll regret this." And eventually, Chae arrives at the location written on the paper. The whole way there, she feels awful. She keeps thinking about what she's about to do, but then something doesn't make sense. The woman is still sitting right behind her. "I told you to take me to the street ahead, not here." Chae freezes. Nothing happened. The woman is completely fine, which makes no sense at all. Why didn't Yoon-soo take her? There's no way he forgot the date written on that paper, so something definitely happened. After dropping her off, Chae notices a car nearby. Then suddenly, a camera flash goes off by accident, and she immediately recognizes the car. She's been seeing it ever since the woman got into her taxi. She just never knew who was inside. Later, she heads to church and finds Gyeorum waiting there. He hands her a piece of paper and tells her to call Yoon-soo, but Chae shakes her head. "I need to talk to him first." And Gyeorum replies, "Do what you're told and stay quiet." That instantly irritates her. "I did exactly what he told me to do. He's the one who didn't take the woman." And Gyeorum replies, "How was he supposed to take her when you brought someone with you?" And just like that, Chae finally understands that car really was following her. After the service ends, an older woman approaches Yoon-soo. "Yoon-soo, why don't you join me for a coffee? It's on me." Before Yoon-soo can even answer, Chae suddenly cuts in. "No, I'll pay for everyone this time. I couldn't last time." Gyeorum immediately cuts her off. "My uncle and I are busy. We can't make it." But surprisingly, Yoon-soo agrees. And Gyeorum just thinks to himself, are these people seriously insane? I'm getting out of here. After leaving the church, Chae spots that same car again. The researcher is sitting inside. "Did you really think I wouldn't notice you've been following me since yesterday? I just wanted to make sure your story was true." And then Chae says something completely unexpected. "Good, then keep watching. If you want to see strange things, like vampires for example." The researcher just stares at her. He has absolutely no idea what she means. But one thing is obvious. Chae is planning something, and whatever it is, it involves Yoon-soo. Anyway, they all head to a cafe together. The woman from church looks at Chae and asks, "So you're paying for everyone? Let me guess. You just wanted some alone time with Yoon-soo and were getting in the way, right?" And Chae immediately replies, "Not at all. I actually want you guys to stay, so I can feel safe." That makes both of them stare at her. Safe? From what? Wait, are you actually scared of Yoon-soo? Yoon-soo joins the conversation. "Don't worry, I've been behaving a lot better lately, and honestly, I'm proud of her too. That just confuses them even more. Hold on, are you two dating or something?" "No, we've just been co-workers for a while, and I'm proud of her because she's good at her job." That immediately gets on Chae's nerves. She stands up to get coffee, and in her head she's like, "Oh really? Let me show you what this amazing co-worker of yours has been doing. Who treats a co-worker like that? Threatening her, choking her." That's when she decides to expose him. She doesn't want a vampire casually living among people from the church, and maybe, if everyone finds out what he really is, he'll finally leave her alone. She had a sharp object with her, and when she returns to the table, she deliberately spills the coffee, then scratches her hand and makes it look like she got hurt by the broken cup, all because she wants everyone to see what happens when Yoon-soo smells blood. And it works. His expression changes, and his eyes turn yellow. Chae quickly says, "I'm fine." But honestly, Yoon-soo doesn't look fine at all. And suddenly, Chae finds herself somewhere completely different, a beautiful place filled with flowers. Meanwhile, the researcher is taking pictures, and that's when he notices something terrifying. Everyone is frozen. Nobody moves, except Yoon-soo. He's the only one still moving. And that's when we realize Yoon-soo used his power and froze everyone. He slowly moves toward Chae and is about to bite her, but right before he does, he hears a strange sound and immediately snaps back to his senses. Then he looks at her and says, "What you just did was actually pretty funny." And just like that, everything returns to normal. The people with Chae immediately notice her injury. "We need to get you to a hospital right now. That cut looks bad." At that moment, Yoon-soo suddenly leaves, and everyone is left wondering what was wrong with him. Chae tells them she'll go to the hospital herself, but she needs to leave immediately because she wants to see the photos the researcher took. She gets into his car and asks, "Did you bring the bandages I asked for?" He hands them over. "Before I show you the pictures, tell me what happened back there." And Chae replies, "I honestly don't know. It felt like I was dreaming, and then I woke up." The researcher looks at her and says, "Everybody froze for an entire minute. Nobody moved, except that guy. He kept walking towards you." Chae immediately says, "Show me the pictures." But when she grabs the camera, there's nothing there, not a single photo. She stares at him and says, "Wait, Wait, are you sure you actually took them? The researcher grabs the camera and freezes too, because she's right, the photos are gone. Che gets out of the car, then looks at him and says, "Stop following me, and stop looking into vampire stuff. Just run, for your own sake," because now she knows. Everything that happened was because of Yoon-soo. The researcher just sits there confused. He clearly remembers taking 3 pictures. 3, not 1, 3. Then suddenly, he notices someone staring at him. It's Yoon-soo. That's when we realize what happened. Yoon-soo heard the camera shutter and somehow deleted the photos. How did he do it? Nobody knows, but it's definitely connected to his vampire abilities. Later, Yoon-soo returns to Gyeorum. He hands him the jacket and says, "Burn it." Then he starts talking to himself. How did I fall for something this obvious? I must be getting old. But then his expression changes, because he knows he has to deal with this problem. The next trap Che sets could be even worse. After thinking for a moment, he suddenly smiles and says he's going to pay her back for this little joke. Basically, if you mess with me, I'll mess with you too. A moment later, Gyeorum looks at him and asks, "Where are you going?" And Yoon-soo replies, "The basement." That instantly shocks Gyeorum. What are you going to do down there? But honestly, Yoon-soo isn't thinking about anything except Che and what she just did to him, and it's pretty obvious he wants revenge. Then he walks down into the basement, and down there, someone is lying on the floor. Now tell me in the comments, who do you think that person in the basement was? And what do you think Yoon-soo is planning to do to Che next? And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next part of the story. Love you guys. See you in the next episode. Bye!